Hey, my name's Jack Nicholson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about proposed taxes on property that Labour's considering at the moment. You see, Labour say they've got a 30 billion black hole due to the Conservatives and what they were left with. In fact, it's probably getting worse because things like stamp duty collected at the moment must be down because, yes, we had a very busy first quarter, but since then, property transactions are down. I'd also say that income tax must be down as well because unemployment is rising. So less people are going to be paying tax on their income because there's less people employed at the moment. So that's another problem, that the government potentially has even less money coming in. In fact, if people are unemployed, then they've got to pay benefits out to those people. So they're spending rather than getting money into the government. So they've got a bit of a problem, and there's lots of action groups and think tanks pressuring the government to tax certain groups of people. Landlords is one of those people. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what they're proposing, who's proposing this, what's the likelihood of some of this stuff actually going through, and much, much more. Now, if you're new around here and you haven't done, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We've got all the latest property content every single day. We talk house prices, interest rates, investing in properties, and much, much more. And let's get some views on this video. I think people need to know what's going on. Your part simple. Smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that really does help the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So there's a few people pushing the government, and this is a think tank called Demos. I pronounce it Demos. You might call it Demos. I don't know. You tell me. Is it Demos or Demos? Let me know in the comments. I don't know how you're going to let me know which one's right. So, yeah, this is important, though, because these guys are pressuring the government. And there's lots of people like this. Generation Rent are pushing the government on property stuff. Shelter are also pushing the government. And so there's a lot of things that they're considering in the property market to make more money at the moment. First is national insurance. National insurance on rent. That is an easy win. There wouldn't be much pushback on that, but there is a problem with it. And so what they're saying is landlords should be paying national insurance on their rental income. But already landlords pay the most tax, the highest tax rate that you can get with something called Section 24. They don't get to claim expenses like you would in most businesses. So if you put national insurance on top of this, even more landlords are going to leave the market. That's going to cause rents to go up. But also, this will just get passed on to tenants. That's what happens. Because landlords are only making £2,000 per property per year. So if you're going to try and take £1,000 off them with national insurance, that's just going to increase rent significantly. But it is what it is, and that might be what they're looking to do. So that's one consideration. The biggest one that's getting pushed at the moment is this property tax. And so the property tax is based off the American system. And in America, it's very unpopular because in America, you don't get stamp duty. You get a tax every single month, like council tax, but it's for your property. And so the government's proposing to start this with properties over the value of 500 grand. It will roll out to all properties eventually, I assure you that, if they do this. But it starts with the bigger properties, 500 grand plus. You'd stop paying council tax, you wouldn't pay stamp duty, and then you would pay an annual fee. Now, that sounds wonderful, not having that stamp duty, not having that council tax. Problem is, this is going to be more than the council tax. What they're looking at is around 0.5% of the value of the property, which can be quite a big chunk of money. And then you just pay it forever. Now, here's where this is a problem. And in America, this is already a crisis because when you retire, your income drops, but you've still got this great big property tax. And that's a big problem for a lot of pensioners in America, and they can't afford it. And it just doesn't work out very well. In fact, America, there's always calls to repeal this and get rid of the property tax, especially places like Florida where you've got lots of pensioners. That's one new tax that they're considering, we'll get more leaks. They're leaking this stuff so we know what's there, so we can debate it, talk about it, react to it. So let me know in the comments what you think about that one, because the more comments we get on this, the more the government might pay attention. And the other one that they're looking at the moment is on properties above £2 million. And that's a mansion tax. So that would be 2 million plus. Now, this property tax here is on sold properties, new deals. You'd only fall into that if you went and bought a new house. And some people might be interested in that because they might think, well, I want to buy this 600 grand house over here and I don't want to pay a massive stamp duty. So I'll go and do this while it's there. And they've got the option to join that property tax system instead. The mansion tax, though, is slightly different. And what they're talking about here is potentially taxing people that stay put in their mansions that are over £2 million. Now, you might say, well, that's good because they're rich. Not necessarily. You could have had a decent job many years ago and retired and live in London in a property, and you can afford the property. It could be a flat in London. You can afford the bills because it's not a massive property. You can afford the council tax. But suddenly you get this mansion tax, which is 0.5%. That means if you are a £2 million house, you can pay £10,000 a year in tax, nearly £1,000 a month. That's going to be a big shock to a lot of people that you might say, well, it's unfair. They might be asset rich, but cash poor. There's lots of people that are in that scenario where they're asset rich, cash poor. They would suddenly be thrust into this next tax bracket. They might be retired. And I think some of these things are maybe fair enough if you're employed and you're still earning income. You've got a business, you've got a job. But I also think that if someone's paid all their tax, they planned their retirement, I don't think you should be able to touch those people. I think there should be exemptions for people that are in retirement. They don't have the option to change their plan now. It's too late. They've already retired. And that is where I think this could be a little unfair. Now, I don't think any of these new tax proposals are going to be very popular. The national insurance one, if the landlord pays that, I don't think there'll be many people with violins out for them because there isn't lots of landlords. They're not a huge percentage of the population. But what I do see is that the tenants won't be happy when the rents go up. I think all of these things are not really the best solutions. And I think they should be looking at other things like stimulating the economy and growing the economy to get more tax revenues in. Like Labour, as some of you call them in the comments, Labour did quite well in the credit crunch. I had a business back then, and when we hit real difficult times, they cut VAT. It was 17.5% for years. They cut it to 15%. Obviously, it went back up to 20% afterwards, and that's where it is right now. But cutting it to 15% got some activity going, got you some incentives to buy those high ticket items, the cars, the holidays, because you saved on your VAT. That, I think, is the solution. Getting the economy building and moving rather than just taxing us. I don't think it's proven in any system that taxing people is going to grow the economy. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And let me know what you think about these things as well. Before you go, do make sure you grab Mortgage Secrets, how to get the best mortgage deal in 2025 and beyond. This will teach you to get the best broker and get those off-market lenders. You know, when we talk about car insurance, we talk about Direct Line. The adverts tell us they're not on the comparison sites. Well, there's mortgage lenders that are the same. You can find out who they are in the ebook, in the description. You can grab it in the first comment as well. Do smash like, do subscribe. Let's get that 50,000 and check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.